Welcome to Satsunami. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Satsunami. I'm Satsunami and joining me for some rather awesome content creation is my very good friend Craig, who you might know from the Beer and Chill podcast. Craig, welcome back to Satsunami.
Yeah, hello. It has been a while. It's been a long time, and it's been a long time since I've been on any kind of airwaves. So I'm very much looking forward to this. And yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I am good, thanks. I'm actually just wondering, when was the last time you were on here? Was it the Pokemania episode?
I think it must have been. That must have been the last time. Basically, I was so good on that episode that I thought I don't need to come back. That's me peaked.
Oh, I forgot. I banned you from Satsunami after that episode. Right, okay, hold on, guys. I'll be let me get a different guest. I'll be back in a sec.
Why is it saying you've hung up on Discord?
Alexa, how do you ban someone from Satsunami? No, but it's good to hear, though, that you're doing well up until that comment.
Yeah, I was doing so good.
Yes, you tried so hard and got so far. But in the end, this is a dated reference. I apologise.
That album came out in like 1999 or something. Like,
did it?
Yeah,
no
Theory.
way.
Yeah, Linkin Park. Yeah.
Oh, what?
It was like peak of new metal, so it was like 99 or something. Yeah.
I'm not
If anyone in the chat knows exactly when Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory came out, let me know.
I'm not gonna lie, like half the references I do make are pretty dated. I feel as if there'll be a whole compilation of me just like Satsunami dated references. So yeah, as you can tell by the title of this podcast episode, today we are going to be talking about something that, quite frankly, we have really thrown ourselves into, especially during last year with the pandemic going on, and really continued it into 2021. I don't know why I paused there. I was like,
What year is it?
I know. Honestly, see, with the pandemic and being inside, you're like, is it 2021? Is it?
You know, 2022 is in 4 months.
Do you know, I was actually thinking that because I was actually talking to you about this off the stream, but yeah, it's been 9 months, nearly. It's coming up to the 9-month anniversary of Satsunami, and honestly, that is terrifying. Can't believe that Satsunami's been going on for 9 months. Crazy business.
Unbelievable.
It really is. And yeah, speaking of losing all time, yeah, today we are going to be talking about basically our experiences with content creation and yeah, just really as I said, our experiences, the kind of good stuff that came out of it, the bad stuff. And I must admit, to be honest, the reason I got into it was partially because of you. And I'm not saying that in a I blame you for.
Is this good news or bad news?
Yeah. I'll let the chat decide on our lovely listeners. But yeah, like, part of the reason was because you had suggested, oh, why don't you, go on to Twitch? And I think you went on Twitch first, didn't you? And then, yeah, they just spiraled out of control from there. But yeah, what kind of inspired you to get into content creation initially?
I don't really know what kind of kicked off. I think that's a good question. Well, obviously we started with Twitch, but even by that point, I'd started to notice, especially things like YouTube, how much that had kicked off in terms of, obviously saying YouTube kicked off, but it's always been huge. And that's, especially as we've grown up, we've seen it crush all competition. Social media in general has never really interested me that much. It's like things like Facebook, Twitter. I'm not like interested in sharing my own kind of personal stuff. But then once YouTube started kicking off, they started doing like live stuff. I kind of realized the power of like Twitch and like how amazing it is in terms of like getting to talk to people and get to play games with people, especially during like the pandemic sort of times, like getting the chance to hang out with people. And from there, I guess kind of like, man, this stuff's really interesting. Like you see like all these streamers on YouTube, like yourself now, where you've got all this content uploaded, but people are going live on YouTube. There's so many different formats of how things work. At the time, Instagram was having its sort of big boom, I think, or like its second big boom from where that was as well, and like all that kind of stuff. I really like. I'm a really visual person. I think I've probably said that in this podcast before. Like I'm terrible for reading. I can't read. So things like Instagram, it's all like flashing colors and like lots of pictures, and then like Twitch, which is lots of lovely voices and lots of fashion images, are like really good for me. Like I understand what's going on. Same with YouTube, and yeah, kind of that stuff. And then sort of out of that, between my sort of wrestling career, which kind of took off long after that, but I'll kind of look back on that. But I was creating content for that. Creating content for Twitch, my own kind of thing, and then Being Chill podcast starts up. So obviously, I've been helping you quite, not helping, but discussion with you quite a bit about various things. And like, I just started getting really into like I don't want to call it the science of content creation, but certainly like the technical aspects of it all. Like, so many people take it for granted how easy it must be, but like these people who are doing it really well are effectively playing the game in such a specific way that I found that really fascinating. To give it a more real world example, like a lot of people don't know that your local supermarket's set up in a really specific way to make you spend the most money, and when you start learning about that, it's quite interesting. It was the same thing for me. I just really like to unpack that. So same with content creation. When I was like, creation of content's really interesting, but also like the perception of it is super interesting as well to me. So that's kind of like a whole bunch for me. That's kind of what really interested me into it. And I've lasted this long without mentioning them, so I'll have to mention them now. Take a shot, everyone, and taking one every time I mention them. The Instagram, social media content creator, Gary V, sort of motivational speaker guy. He is like such a huge inspiration for me. Between content creation, also just like how I live my life, and like jokes are that I mention him all the time, but I had to get him out already. But yeah, his kind of stuff, he mixes like the informative with like the scientific, and kind of tries to explain why certain things work on social media and what doesn't. So yeah, that was kind of what really interested me in it all. So I'll throw it back to you. Like, obviously you started on Twitch, but what kind of drew you to that, and then why have you kept expanding that? Like, what's kind of inspired that as well?
Well, before I answer that, just when you said about the drinking game for mentioning Gary V, first of all, yeah, I do agree. Like, really interesting content creator as well, and just very motivational. The other thing is I do have like a huge cup of water here, so I've got it in standby just in case.
I thought you were gonna say Satsunami does not condone any drinking game suggested by other guests at any time.
Yeah, because although we make those jokes, it's like it's bound to happen. It's like, what's that joke? It's 9 p.m. somewhere or something.
Exactly.
But yeah, sorry, going back to your question. I have to admit, even before Twitch, I have kind of jumped from various sites to try and do like content creation, because I've always been fascinated, especially when I was younger, because growing up I used to watch like a lot of YouTube, and especially there was a lot of gaming content, not so much let's plays. I think when I was younger I was kind of in that camp of, oh, why would you watch somebody play a game? And now years later, hello past me. Hypocrite. But basically, like, I would watch those, like, machinimas and, basically this creative outlet, because I used to really be into my creative writing, and I used to do a lot of that. After that, I got into, I tried getting into YouTube, really couldn't find my niche in it, and then it was like one thing after the other. I was just like throwing what at the wall and just seeing what stuck. Yeah. And then it wasn't until obviously the lockdown, the pandemic hit.
Actually, can I cut you off, because I actually have a little interesting fact about your content creation history.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you missed a pretty important gap there.
I think I know what you're going to talk about, but go ahead.
For those that don't know this, me and Mr. Satsu actually had a Doctor Who blog for a short time.
Oh, that, yeah.
Well, you thinking? I'm more curious now what you thought I was going to talk about.
I thought you were going to go. Sorry, I thought you were going to go further back and talk about the gaming thing that we used to have. That was years ago. That was when we were still in high school together.
Yeah. Wow.
Back in the good.
Yeah, blogging really took off when we were in school. Like, that was kind of the earlier version of the content creation. What was it called? I almost called it Tinder there, which is a totally different type of content creation. Tumblr.
No, it wasn't Tumblr. Was it not Bebo?
Oh, Bebo, yeah. But I was thinking, oh yeah, we had a blog on Bebo.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh god.
That's
yeah, Satsunami would like to officially state we have never been on Tinder. If you see any red pandas on there, it is not us. Okay.
Wow.
But anyway, sorry. Go on.
But yeah, but you actually had a blog on Doctor Who where we reviewed like the last of the Matt Smith episodes and the start of the Peter Capaldi episode. That in the timeline. Yeah, your creative writing period. Don't play it down. You did more than you're giving yourself credit for. But sorry. So 2020 hits, and you were going to start start from where 2020 kicked off?
I have to admit, it's been quite spotty up until that. And when I got to 2020, I did try like other things. Like I'm very like big in, and maybe not recently because I haven't had as much time. But I used to like learning, languages and things and reading into that. And I started doing the YouTube channel on that. Ha ha ha, you will never find it. If anybody does, like, I will be severely impressed. But anyway, I made like things like that, and it wasn't really taking off, and honestly, I wasn't really enjoying it. Again, it wasn't until you came into the scene and you were like, oh, hey kids, check out this new thing called Twitch. And it's like, oh boy, what's Twitch? I have to admit, I think I brought this up in like past Satsunami episodes, but genuinely, I didn't know what to think of Twitch. Because whenever I saw Twitch, it was always like, you get those very clickbaity videos where it's like the thumbnail, like, Twitch streamer does this on camera, you won't believe your eyes. And you're like, it just seemed like a weird kind of place. You wouldn't guess it, like 35 episodes into Satsunami, but, or 35 plus technically, but anyway, you wouldn't expect that, but I'm quite a shy person in real life. Obviously gotten a lot better compared to my school days, but considering I've went from that to, like taking the plunge and actually putting myself out there, because that was terrifying to me, because I always remember, like, whenever I streamed, I always had the expectation that it was always going to be people I knew, people I was saying, oh, by the way, I'm live, and they go, oh, okay, we'll come by, and usually it was like the same, like 2 to 3 people, maybe 4. Sorry, I'm not like indirectly calling out friends here, by the way. It'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4. For the rest of you, you know who you are.
You didn't tune in every time.
How dare you? It was quite nerve-wracking, and I have to admit, I have gotten better at it, I feel, and I'm not saying that to brag. I genuinely feel as if you have to like dive into it to, kind of jump in and try it. And then as I kept going with it, like, as much as I love it, I'm kind of terrified that something happens to Twitch. Like, I'm not saying like one day I'll wake up and it's like Twitch is, gone to the moon or something. Like,
I thought you were gonna say like you woke up in a world and everyone's like, what's Twitch? What are you talking about? So you just woke up in a world where this never happened.
What is this, like the film Yesterday when I have to reinvent Twitch?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just like, I wouldn't even know where to begin with that. Anyway, sorry. I'll come back to that. No, but yeah, like, I thought I might as well try and start branching out. Like, rather than just, because I think that was one of the mistakes I made at the very beginning. Like, I didn't expand a lot. Do you ever feel like that? Did you ever stick to like one social media when you started out with your content creation? Or
I think it's tricky because you don't want to like go too far out of your sort of lane, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too technical just now, but there is a thing about, I always go on about it to you, the content of pyramid, the pyramid of content.
Yeah.
Content of pyramid, whatever I said there.
Yeah.
But basically the idea is that you can do things that are easy to throw away, which is totally off-brand. So things like Instagram stories and fleets on Twitter and stuff like that, they can be complete nonsense. But as you go up the chain, sort of the things that are more permanent, so things like if you're a blogger, your blog, websites, for you it'd be like your YouTube channel, like the original content on there, your T-posing, that has to be on brand.
Yeah.
So it's always trying to find that niche in there. So yeah, certainly for me, tried a wee bit on Twitch, and I couldn't get the consistency that you managed, which was pretty incredible how much you've managed. But I could not nail that consistency down. I've kind of kept more to like the lower levels of that pyramid. So things like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook tend to be the things that I stick to. At the moment, but I'm hoping what's been quite difficult for me is one of my big things is my Martin McAllister page, is the wrestling, but obviously there's not been any because of COVID, so like the main source of my content doesn't exist. So I've got all these amazing ideas once it starts happening again. So things like a YouTube, more permanent things, you need to keep that branching out to keep it interesting. Like you can, it's very easy to get quite stuck, quite static. Just as an example for one of mine, one of my big things when I first became a wrestler was my physical transformation that I've made. So for people that don't know that, about 3 years ago, I was about 115 kilograms. I don't know what that is in old money. I think it's like £250. I don't know. What's that in stone? It's like 18 stone.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Someone get a calculator out.
Buy it on the Switch. Also, Switch sponsor us.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a Switch calculator and a Switch of Bacchus as well. It was called one of the sliders. Get one of those out for us.
Yeah.
And then I lost all that weight, and that was like one of the big sort of things about me as a wrestler. But then you realise over time, people have seen it. Like, so the shock kind of decreases. You have to find new ways of like getting across the same information or getting across new information. £250. Thank you, Green Shields. So there you go. So I can't even lift that now. No, I was kidding. I can. Not to brag, but I can. So yeah, it's just trying to get across new information and stuff in like different ways. So yeah, well, what was I getting with? The whole point of this was you do have to expand to get that information across in different ways, and like you've done a really good job of that, I think, personally. Because you started very heavily on Twitter, but you managed to expand. You produce different content on Instagram. You produce different content on different platforms. So I'll kind of throw this back to you. Like, what was kind of the driving factors for that? Like, how do you manage it as well from like a inspiration point of view? Like, how do you keep it different? Also, Discord. Just to plug that.
Oh, yeah,
your Discord, you're also creating content and pushing it out over that as well. So there you go. That's a big old question for you.
Lots of prayer, lots of sleep. No, in all seriousness, like initially, as I said, like I started out as a nervous wreck when I started like streaming on Twitch. It was as soon as I started gaining momentum because, and I'm probably going to touch on it later again, but one of the things that they really don't warn you about Twitch is experiences may vary, you know, asterisks there, because some people go into Twitch expecting like, you know, they'll go in their first stream and all of a sudden, you know, oh, they've got thousands of followers and, you know, they're rich overnight and things. And sometimes that happens. Maybe because they're bringing followers from, you know, maybe another social media that they're very popular on. For me personally, I really struggled at the beginning of Twitch, having to do that upward climb of #notice me and, you know, trying to like boost myself on, you know, like on Twitch, on, you know, there were hardware issues as well, you know, there were loads of things that I had to battle with. But as soon as I kind of found my footing, because initially, like, I was kind of on the verge of thinking, maybe I should give up, maybe I shouldn't. And I don't want to sound like a cheesy, you know, like, after-school special being like, and I didn't give up, kid. You know, like, I think it was just trying to find that community. Because, and again, like, this is going to get very sappy very quickly, so I apologise. But I did meet a lot of amazing people on Twitch. I think two things, actually. First of all, I'm going to admit it, thanks to both your support and everyone else, like all my friends' support, that was like very encouraging, because I feel as if I was just like Joe Blogs who went on secretly and I got nothing, then I would have just quit it. But the fact that people were coming in regularly and saying, oh, what time are you streaming, or what time are you doing this, and I was like, oh, you know, like wanting to do it just for them initially, and then getting into other communities, meeting people, honestly, even just like there's been a couple of episodes, so if you haven't checked out the Streamer Spotlight episodes of Satsunami, that's basically, it basically sums up really like a couple of the streamers that I've met during my time on Twitch, like over a year now, which is crazy. I'm getting old, Craig, I'm getting old. But yeah, from that, I kind of thought, right, okay, I'm gaining momentum, and I was seeing all of these other streamers saying, oh, you should advertise here, you should advertise there. I'm going to be honest, I personally, I don't know how you feel, but I think there is a great, like, difficulty curve in each social media. Like Twitch, I felt as if it was easy because I was spamming myself in like a lot of threads and Twitter, and then I was going into other people's streams, I was getting to know them, and it was sustainable back then because that's what I was just focusing on. But maybe it isn't as sustainable now because like a lot of people are dropping out of streaming or they're not as active, so you have to try and find the right places on Twitter. Instagram, I had no idea. Like, I know you have had like fantastic success on Instagram. I'm getting a bit better with it, but again, it's like I'm just trying to find, the niche there to try and promote. YouTube is hell. I'm not gonna lie. YouTube is really hellish. Like I look at, and again, this isn't a humble brag by any means. This isn't me going, "Oh, look at how many followers," because that doesn't matter, and I will touch on that. But last year, I managed to get like 1,000 followers on Twitch, thanks to obviously the support and everything, and like going into people's streams, really working my butt off trying to promote myself. YouTube, I think, at the time of this recording, is at about 210, I think, subscribers. And I'm not saying that in a way to say, oh, that's terrible. It's not. Like, it's fantastic that 210 people think, oh, fantastic, that's, we want to see your content. But at the same time, it's so hard to try and promote things like YouTube. And I think that is something that could discourage a lot of people, because I know a lot of people do start on YouTube, and honestly, it's like night and day, because I feel as if Twitch is a lot easier to promote. And something as well, and I don't think you've gotten on the TikTok train, have you?
Not yet, but I have been experimenting with the other half of that, which is the Instagram Reels.
Oh, yes.
Which is the rip-off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll let you go on TikTok first before I talk about Real Roulette, which is my favourite game to play, but we'll chat about that afterwards.
Yeah, just very quickly. Initially, when I was using TikTok, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still use it like a boomer, but I kept using it, and I was like, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing on here. I was posting videos and clips and things I thought personally were funny, and they weren't. And what I started doing is, and this is quite a good tip that I would recommend people to do, is try and find other streamers out there, and then like just follow them, and if they follow you back, send them a message and just say like, thanks for the follow, and try and get that engagement going. Yeah. Because obviously not everyone's gonna say, not everyone's gonna talk to you, but there have been actually quite a lot of people that I've met on TikTok recently. Like over the past couple of months, I've met like a really amazing bunch of people. Yeah, it's amazing how it's worked out.
Yeah, so I want to touch on something you mentioned next. You talk about like the messaging of people and going into people's Twitch streams and stuff. And I think one of the most important things is if people, I guess it's a wee tip from my point of view. But see when you do stuff like that, be genuine though.
Oh yeah,
like that I think is you might have, so obviously I do a lot of social media for Beard and Chill podcast, and I met people that message me like a long paragraph that's obviously just been copied and pasted.
Yeah,
and it's like if you just said, "Hi guys, like your cover up," or "Hi guys, that's a funny idea," or that kind of stuff's like a lot more engaging than a generic message. So like especially when you see people coming into your Twitch just now, coming to your Twitch chat and like, oh, hey, and talk about a shared experience, or talk about something like that. If you're trying to engage other people and trying to reach out, the same way you would in just any form of real life, you know what I mean? Like you want to try and make friends, try and engage with them. Like don't just expect people just to appear if you just spam them with stuff. So that's just it's just something I want to throw out there.
Have you ever had the bamboozle of that, like the reverse Uno card of that, where it's like you try to engage with someone and initially they're very receptive, and then it turns out it's a trap, and that was just like, haha, because I used to, and again, I'm not going to name names or anything, but there was someone in my community when I was starting out who I had messaged, and we were getting along really well, and it was like, oh, I've got, Discord, I've got this, oh, why don't you try and engage? Honestly, like, the person in question did nothing but just spam their own content, which is fine. Like, it's fine if they want to just use the self-promotion thing, because I've got a self-promotion section set up, because I don't want to be one of those people that's like, okay, everyone gathered in one place, just bask in my brilliance. Because
talk about me.
Exactly. Because I mean, I've even got a zone for that where I just keep my stuff like quarantined. As relevant as it is in 2021. Yeah, it's trying to be genuine.
I think with really any content you put out, so like people, like, I would just take your Twitch as an example.
Yeah.
If you're on Twitch and you're making up stories, like completely made up when you're streaming, people will find out, or people will figure out that, like, wait, hang on a second. Last time you said that our Boaz was coming straight out of your kitchen, but today it's your living room. You know what I mean? So people will figure these things out. You know, and so like, it's always good to be genuine and People can tell. So like,
Yeah.
always be genuine on any social media. But yeah, particularly if you're reaching out to someone for the first time, play it cool, but also be you, be nice.
Yeah. There honestly have been, and I have to admit, like, so this is the thing. Sometimes I used to put my, like, sometimes I still do, but only for, you get those threads on Twitter
Oh
where
yeah.
it's like promote your stream or whatever. I'm starting to, because there's some channels that are just like, oh, just promote your stream here with no like expectation for like
Yeah.
a follow back or anything, and that is a huge thing of Twitch culture where it's like the follow for follow culture is very prevalent. Initially, like people will be tempted to do it to be like, oh, I'll just spam my link in here, and if I follow back the person, it's like it's that kind of downward spiral of you'll follow people and then immediately as soon as you follow them, they'll unfollow you, and it's going back to what you were saying, there's no genuine connection. But the amount of people that have gone into those kind of threads and someone just randomly puts underneath, hey, I'm a streamer too, I stream this and that, can't wait to join you, like the copy and pasted thing again, as you were
Yeah, yeah.
saying, and it gets really annoying. Like, I can't even remember what it was, but there was a, like, completely unrelated, but it was a tweet that I'd sent out, and I don't know whether it was a thank you one or it was just a random tweet, and then someone was like, haha, oh, by the way, here's a clip of me, like, I don't know, doing something stupid on Twitch, and I was like, dude, what the hell? Like,
Dude, thank you.
no, like, there's a time and a place, I think. Like, to sum up, there is definitely a time and a place for that kind of thing. But sorry, you were going to say about the real roulette.
Oh, so it was. Yes,
Yeah,
real
sorry.
roulette. I love to talk about this. Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I was getting sidetracked. Real roulette. So Instagram came up with a thing called Reels, which is TikToks. TikToks? Is that what it's called? TikToks, isn't it?
Like Lego.
And yeah, like Lego's Lego.
Yeah.
What a weird way of saying it. Oh, sorry, I'm going to
Okay.
get sidetracked again. So, Real Roulette is a great game. So, the way that, for people that don't know, the way that things like TikTok and Reels on Instagram work is it's just a continuous feed of videos. So, you watch a video, the video finishes, you can then swipe, or I think it just auto plays. I don't really use TikTok and stuff like that often, but you can swipe or it will auto play onto the next video, onto the next video, onto the next video. And there's clever algorithms in it that help figure out how you react to certain videos, and it will try to show you videos like the ones you watch.
Uh-huh.
So when you upload stuff, you can put hashtags in, etc., etc. And basically what happens is with Real Roulette, this is the Instagram version of it, it's really hard to tell what video is going to be successful and what video is not. So I like to play this game here called Real Roulette.
Yeah.
I've actually got my reels open just now, I'm looking at them. So to give you an example of just, I made a video sort of talking about my entire life in wrestling and sort of stuff like that. And I spent quite a long time on it, not like a long time. I think about a good hour or two editing this video. I'm terrible at video editing. This was a 60-second clip and it took me ages. And I put all this stuff and I gathered all these photos and little videos and stuff, and it got 400 views, which is not bad. And I can't see how many likes it got from here, but you get the idea. On the other hand, my most successful video was something that I took when I was at a trampoline park. It was a 5-second clip, and I think it looks terrible, and it has close to 5,000 views as of right now. And I was like, why is one of these things not like the other? Like, what is the roulette on here? And even I think a couple of days ago, it's been up for about 3 months now, and even a couple of days ago, I got another like on it. I was like, how is this happening? I just do not understand how the algorithm works behind the scenes that pulls across content for people to watch. So that's kind of another top tip coming out of me for people that are maybe starting out on things like it's probably part of the reason that I think you use TikTok so well, so often as well. If you are starting out things like a Reel or a TikTok, they're really good ways of meeting new people or getting engagement from new people because they don't rely on hashtags. They don't rely on people just happening to follow you or to see your newsfeed. Like these reels can come out of nowhere and completely surprise people. As I said, 5,000 people have seen this. Almost 5,000 people have seen this reel of mine. I've got about 300 followers, so you can see the reach on that is incredible. So if you can think of something funny that can sum up what you do, like trailers and little funny clips, like Twitch is amazing for producing little clips, and I know you do a lot of your sort of cut down the little bits from your videos and put them onto TikTok, like that kind of thing's fantastic to get out there because it just people like the way that TikTok and then Reels and is it Shorts on YouTube? Yeah, it's hard to
Yeah,
tell them all.
yeah, it's shorts.
That the way they all work is completely random, or not completely random, but apparently random. So that's really cool. So yeah, that's another top tip from me. I will ask you. So like, what kind of stuff do you tend to put on TikTok, and what kind of tips would you give people starting out with it? 'Cause you did kind of mention you struggled when you started with it, so I'm just kind of curious how you started getting into the zone with it.
Initially, I was going to lie there and be like, "Oh, I do all my funny dances and show my face on TikTok," but that's a lie. Like, in good
Exclusive
conscience, I
content.
yeah. Because initially, like a lot of people who use Twitch as well, there's a lot of like cross stuff where it's like they'll like do a video of them saying, "Hey guys, I'm going live on Twitch," or "Hey guys, I'm doing this or that." But it's like I have seen those videos, and then it's like posted 3 days ago, and I'm like, "Oh no, I missed it." Like, no,
I
no.
missed our stream 3 days ago. What was I even doing?
It's like, thank you, Yoda fan 32. But yeah, what I've started to do, so I've kind of started cheating in a way with TikTok. So what I do is, usually I download the video that I made for YouTube. So for anyone who doesn't know, I do basically a weekly series, a Let's Play series called T-Posing with my very good friends Adam and Green Shield. And basically we put out 3 episodes a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays. And what I usually do is I've started like uploading them and then kind of downloading the episodes onto my phone and then kind of just cutting the episode, or just like uploading the full video onto TikTok and then cutting it on there, because you can like edit the video. I think you're only allowed 3 minutes worth of video, and I wouldn't want to put like the 3 full minutes, because it's like, what's the, you know, like what's the point of putting 3 minutes up, because people aren't gonna sit down and watch the full thing probably, which makes me cry, but that's beside the point. But it's like, what I've started to do is I've done that. So as you said, like I chop like bits either from my streams, like clips, or yeah, just like YouTube videos. But what I've also started doing, in Green Shield, my friend, he'll be able to back me up on this. Basically, there is a thing built into my, I think it's NVIDIA, and it's like this thing that like captures certain plays in your game. So because I play a lot of Warzone with them, like whenever I get a kill or I get, you know, like a victory or something like that, it'll auto record that clip into a 30-second clip, and that is fantastic because it means I can get it to my phone and then upload it onto TikTok. And surprisingly, like obviously because it's like Call of Duty and Warzone, but honestly, like they seem to be the ones that get the most views, bar a couple.
You need to start playing Fortnite. That's where you get the views from it.
You know, I have been tempted, but on the other hand, I feel as if I'm genuinely too old to play Fortnite. Like, genuinely, I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm not getting any younger here. You know, it's like that stereotype of the guy breathing down the mic going, "Let's play some Fortnite." It's like, yeah, no. And then again, it's like a couple of weeks later, "Hey guys, welcome to my first Fortnite stream."
I was gonna say, like, this is the clip they cut out like
Yeah.
when you do your first Fortnite stream. It's like, I'm never gonna do Fortnite, and it's like this just gets spammed on your Twitter for the rest of
Yeah.
your life.
I can't wait for someone like in the YouTube like commentary community to be like, "Satsunami 42 said he wouldn't play Fortnite, and look at him now, he's playing
Wait.
Fortnite."
I sure hope someone's gonna get fired for that blunder.
I mean, I am open to playing like different games and things, but I genuinely, I look at other people playing it and I'm like, how the hell, what the hell, where the hell, you know, all the hells. I'm like, what is going on? Like, there was a funny video I saw, and again, I always bring this series up, but it's that Online Gamer. Have you seen that?
I don't think I have, no.
It's it used to be out like when we were still in high school, and it's about a guy who is just like very rude. He's like basically a stereotypical Call of Duty player. And that's the way he acts. So like the way he talks is just basically phrases from the game, like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna shove a RPG down your throat" and things like that. You know, like basically a lovely guy. And then they took a hiatus for a while. And the way the series ended, spoilers for anyone who's following. I know. But yeah, ended like where he became like a successful streamer, and then like they show you like years later, when they actually restarted the series, he's like homeless in a tent, and you were like, why is he in a tent? And it turns out because he was playing like Warzone for a while, and then he stopped and he decided, and he was told by whatever company he was with to play Fortnite, and you just see like a montage of him raging, just yelling things like, why are they dancing? And he refused to actually play it. And oh god, I honestly feel as if like that would be my reaction if I'm just like, why is everyone dancing? Why are they teabagging me? Please stop teabagging me. Why is Rick from Rick
Why
and
am I
Morty?
losing?
Why is Rick from Rick and Morty teabagging me? Why is the guy from Fortnite Master Chief here? You know, like, yes, jokes. For legal reasons, this is a joke.
I'm going to cut that into a clip and just put that out of context. You've done it now.
I could hear you firing up the software. www.satsunamiblackmailer.com.
That's my TikTok. Maybe it's going to be all the clips out of context, clips of you saying incriminating stuff on this podcast.
Is it like that Simpsons episode with Mr. Black? Is like, now I want you, Satsunami, to play Fortnite. Oh, please no, I don't want to play Fortnite. But yeah, maybe one day, maybe like, see, this is the thing, I have a very bad habit, and especially back then, of talking myself into playing bad games. Like, I've said, oh, if I reached like, I think it was 100 or 300, no, I think it was 300 followers, I was like, oh, if I reach 300 followers by this week, I'll play Outlast. I'll never get that. And then I did. And I played Outlast. And I created a compilation video for it. You're welcome. It's 15 minutes. Please go. All I'm saying is, please go watch it. Please let my like screams not be in vain. Although, speaking of like going back to the real roulette, I as you said, like with the YouTube shorts, I actually have been getting into that a lot more. So I've basically been like cross posting, and TikTok's amazing for that, by the way. Like, huge tip here. TikTok videos are, of course, like 3 minutes maximum long, but I think YouTube shorts are only like a minute max. Anyway, you can basically cross post TikToks to like Instagram, Facebook, you know, even Twitter, and especially YouTube shorts. So it's really good for that, you know, and that's something I would recommend people do, like the cross posting, because is very, it makes things easier on you, so you're not like creating unique well, I'm not saying be 100% lazy, but it's just like an easier way to get content out there. Now, the issue I have with it is like, sometimes I'll get like really good views, or it'll be like a video I find really funny on TikTok, and then when I post it to Instagram or like YouTube, it gets like nothing. It gets like 2 or 3 views, and I'm like, oh man, how? My masterpiece. But like, one of the videos that actually got really popular was it was one of the T-posing clips where we were playing Heavy Rain, and it's the scene, you know, when I had to saw my finger off. I don't know if you've seen that episode yet.
Yeah, I've actually seen your short of it though.
Oh yeah. That got like over 400 views, and I thought, how? It even got I will admit, it even got 1 dislike, and I was like, oh my god, I'm famous. I was like, I'm starting.
People are hating on me.
I know. I've got my first hater. Yes. I was like, yes. But the weird thing is, before that happened, my most watched video, and I can't remember if it was like over 200 views or something, but my most watched video was like a Sonic VOD that I did when I started out. And I genuinely don't get it, because there was nothing special about it. It wasn't edited, it wasn't... And that, I have to admit, is quite demoralising. You know, it's like you spend hours like putting in like memes and things and edits for a compilation video, and then when you post it, like it gets like 80 to 100 maybe on a good day, and yeah, just this unedited VOD is like 200 plus views, and it's like, how?
People love the Sonic.
Yeah, they love it. Yeah, but it was that one video. The rest of them didn't get views. So I'm like, what makes this particular one so I genuinely didn't get it. I was like, I do not get what is going on here. But again, that's really the roulette, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So kind of just like a question for you. What are your views, and see the good and the bad side of content creation and your own personal experiences? Basically, what times have you had where you've thought, oh, this is great and everything, and you're really enjoying it, and then what other times where you thought, maybe it's not as good?
from a good point of view, I just really enjoy putting stuff out there and seeing what other people are putting out there as well. That's like such a motivational thing for me. Like one of my big things as a wrestler is I have to go to the gym 5 days. I was going to say 5 days a week. Someone said 5 times a day. There, I was like, wow.
Whoa.
That was weird. We both did the same sound. Anyway,
Yeah.
5 days a week, and like social media is really cool for that because I'm able to like see other people doing the same thing, or like get motivation from different people. It's not necessarily the gyms, people just pushing hard at whatever they do. It's like so cool to me. Like people just giving it their all, whether it's at the gym, whether it's whatever sport they do, whether it's streaming, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, social media, content creation kind of things really made it really easy to sort of talk about this. I think another thing for me that I really, really enjoy consuming content in terms of like, especially things like I work from home now. I think a lot of people have found that, and it's quite difficult to work a long time from home, especially depending on what kind of office you had. My office was quite noisy, and I'm happy for a bit of peace and quiet. But I like the noise. I like kind of chat. You know what I mean? And I did try those like YouTube channels, but it's like coffee shop ambience, and it's like. A bunch of random conversations about it. I thought it was terrible. It was like looping, so I got really confused. So I started listening to watching a lot of streams, and listening to a lot of streams. So I'm not even consuming it like properly. I'm not watching it. I'm just letting the noise play. But like that kind of community that comes out of that, and you get to know these people personally, and I think that kind of comes back to what we were talking about being genuine. The thing that I think appeals to me the most on social media is getting that friendship with people, getting that kind of genuine experience out of people. Like I said, people can tell, but also it's cool when you're a fan and you can get that connection with someone you've never met, which I always think is so incredible. Especially listening to like podcasts and stuff and Twitch streams, it's like you get these raw moments of people of like they're reacting to stuff. It's not choreographed. I don't know what the word would be. You know what I mean? Like it's not
Staged.
prepared. Oh, unless you're sitting out with the whole script for this entire podcast. I mean, in which case, fair play that you managed to predict all my answers. It's like
excuse. What can I descript?
Next, you're going to say
None.
Yeah, JoJo reference there. I got it in.
I know. I was actually surprised. I was like, who's been teaching you JoJo references?
I watched the show.
Oh, God. So you have.
Who's been teaching you JoJo references?
I know. It's like, listen, you little shit.
Don't you quote the ancient scriptures at me. I was there when they were written. That was like a really like nice delivery of that line as well.
It really was, yeah.
Like,
I'm all about props to you.
So overwhelming. Like Liam Neeson, I was just like, just polite. So I don't even know where I was going with this. Yeah, so that kind of reaction thing is like genuine creation. The other hand, the sort of the worst side, the negative side, I think it's like for me, my only negative is when I get writer's block. Or like essentially content block, if you want to call that, because of what I kind of do. Like both the podcast and the wrestling, I get quite conscious because if you're not, you'll probably find this, if you're not in people's minds, you do get forgotten because there's a million people like you out there, and not so much that I'm desperate for attention. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is if I was to go off social media for a month, a lot of what the momentum I put up would disappear. But also at the same time, I get writer's block. So just now, it's the summer just now, so winding down the summer. A lot less people are using social media in general. Same with Twitch, same with stuff after the world's opening up a bit more. And so it's difficult to keep finding stuff to post about, because things are changing. So that's kind of the thing that I struggle with sometimes. So it's just about keeping that consistency. I think it's quite tricky. What about you? So so you've got your goods and your bads. Start with your goods.
Well, again, just to mirror what you were saying, like the human connections that come out of it have been fantastic for me as well. I have to say, like especially for Twitch, because I didn't know what to expect when I actually went into it. But coming out of it and being like, this person's my friend, this person's my friend. Yeah. It's really amazing. I mean, as I said before, like, if I hadn't met those people, I wouldn't have been able to do, like, again, like, going back to what I said earlier about the streamer spotlight episodes of Satsunami, where I think, as of this recording, there's only been about 5, and it's something I really need to get back into. But, like, the amount of people I've met through streaming and being able to like chat to them, collaborate with them, and it's a lot of fun being able to kind of express yourself in that way and just be like, and especially during times of global pandemics and things. But it's like a great feeling to be able to, expand your, social, I don't want to say social networks because that sounds as if it's like, hello, I'm Mr. LinkedIn. But, it's like being able to like make new friends and kind of share ideas as well, because I think that's a good thing as well. A lot of people, I feel, underestimate networking within, especially for streaming and content creation, because I have seen a lot of people where they have said, oh, I want to do, let's say a podcast or a Let's Play series, and I want to be like X group or I want to be like Y group, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you want to aspire to be like another group, that's fine, but also it's good to find, like streamers or content creators on your level, if you know what I mean, and kind of exchange ideas and see what are they doing. What I'm not like recommending is you go into someone's stream, steal their ideas, and then go back and be like, hello, welcome to Schmatschmami. Today we're going to be...
Oh no, man, that's my stream. How did you know my stream idea?
That's all the time we have. But yeah, it's like being able to share ideas and just, as I said, interact, because that as well is very encouraging. And I've said that before, like, I met so many amazing people, and yeah, this is a sappy moment with the violins playing, genuinely, like, it's been an amazing, and as well the community that comes out of it, because that is one of the things I genuinely worry about. And I don't know if you've had this worry, like what happens if you blow up, or if a post blows up, if there's going to be any backlash, if there's going to be any trolls. And I want to reiterate, like, we do not post like any controversial stuff. like considering what goes on the internet nowadays, like, it's relatively mild stuff. And it's like, I mean, for me, as I said, like, worrying that someone's going to come in and be horrible or do this or that, but for the most part, for me personally, it has been very positive. Like, the community that's come out of it has been quite, basically just lovely, I have to say. So that's been a positive, and that's kind of encouraged me personally. But have you ever had anything like that? Before touching the negatives.
Yeah, I do get what you're saying. We had a post, a couple of Being Chill posts that blew up. One particular one I thought was pretty funny. One blew up on Facebook, and one of the comments was just like, it was like a lot of old people started commenting on it. Not there's anything wrong with old people. I'll kind of preface it, but just there's a particular style of comment associated with the older generations.
I shouldn't have taken a drink when you said that.
Up the nose.
Yep.
So one of them was just like, "Good evening, how are you?" or something like that. It was just like one of those, like, someone that was just lost. And then the other one was someone quoting a verse in the Bible. Was got into that, and then there was a third one as well, and it was just like tagging one of their friends, like, I saw this online, and the friend never replied. And I was like, is this a troll? Is this like someone laughing at us? Is this someone getting into us? Like, it was just like, it was these three old people. I don't know how they found us. Just one of my favorite posts, because it was just like really funny. Again, I don't want to. I'm not highlighting the fact that that's not fair. It's the kind of the stereotypical Facebook user moment where it's just like, this isn't the search bar, and they start typing in how to find Beard and Chop. Like, it was just very, very funny. So like that post blew up me. I just like a bunch of weird comments. We've never had anyone be outright mean, which is nice. Yeah, no, I've been quite lucky for that. But I think one of the things that Gary V touches on, so take a shot. No, shot number 2. That's actually not too many. You mentioned them as well, so it's free.
Okay.
One of the things he touches on is, like, if you do get stuff like that, it's like you have to kind of empathize with them in a way, because they're the ones kind of, how we're talking about, we create content and we've created this community, and you kind of have to like almost sympathize and empathize with people, because imagine being that mean that's something that you want to do. Is to create bitter content and create, negative content in the world, when you could be going out and spreading the positivity. It's one of the things we were very keen on when we did Being Chill podcast, was like, we didn't want to do something that was negative all the time. It's okay to be negative about things. I'm not saying like you should be always sunshine and rainbows. But there's a very difference between, this movie's really weird and funny, and I hate Star Wars because of this, and everyone that likes it should be ashamed. Like, there's a very different tone there. Also, I do like Star Wars before I get messages.
Boo. Boo this man.
I like all of them, so you can't even complain about that. Except Attack of the Clones. But
Well, to be fair, you're in safe company there.
yeah, okay, that's fine. But that's the kind of thing, and that's one thing that Gary Vee always mentions. But yeah, so that's kind of we've never had anything like that. Fortunately, we're quite lucky. But that the time will come. Unfortunately, only be nice about it. So what about you? What about your negatives then? If we could look back to you.
I have to admit, content creation is a pretty damn draining thing.
Yeah.
Which, this is going to sound really, like there's a lot of negatives, so so brace yourself. Get your
speech on
Oh,
positivity.
yeah, I know. So get your Gary Vee, like, tankard, because it's going to be a long one. Nah, I'm only kidding. Basically, like, I say, take a shot. I feel as if content creation is one of those things that people severely underestimate. Like, I think I brought this up in past Satsunami streams, or past episodes rather, but a lot of people seem to think that Twitch in general is just people saying, oh, I'm going to turn on a camera, I'm going to play a game. And don't get me wrong, sometimes that is what you're going to get, but for a lot of people, you do get a lot of people who are like trying their best to put out like their best content. It can be a bit demoralising. Like, I mean, you were there for the early days of this channel, even before Satsunami came about.
But everything was in black and white, which was really weird.
Yeah.
There was no audio. There was a guy sitting in the corner of the piano for the first few episodes. It's very strange times.
Yes. I mean, a lot more antiquated views. But no, jokes aside, there was like a lot of things where I would have, as I said, I'd have technical issues. I wouldn't have many people coming in except, you know, you guys, which I do appreciate. Like, I always feel bad for bringing that up to be like, oh, it's only my friends. Like, I did appreciate it, but it felt as if like for a while there was like that plateau, if you know what I mean. Like, you're doing something, but you almost feel as if the only reason you're getting like responses online is because you're telling your friends, oh, I'm online, or oh, I'm doing this kind of thing, if you know what I mean. Like, again, I don't want to come off as if I'm like, oh, it's only my best friends.
I think that's always that's always the first sticking point with any content creation is beating that hurdle. I read a thing on, I think it might have been Podbean. This website talking about podcasts, and they were saying like if you make it to episode 100 or something, you've released more episodes than 90% of people that start a podcast.
Nice.
Or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what number it was. So apologies, I'm not a numbers guy. But like, and that kind of thing, and it's that hurdle, it's that first initial, okay, my friends are here, but then your friends can lose interest as well. Like, you know, they're not going to support you forever for no reason. You have to keep, and I think when people, that's that first plateau that everyone hits for anything, for any type of content creation. I think you're always going to hit that plateau at first, and getting through that moment and sort of figuring out where it comes next, how to actually reach someone you don't know, is the hardest part, I think, in many ways. And you're always going to go in peaks and valleys and plateaus and stuff as you expand anyway, but that's like one of the hardest moments. I can just give a quick shout out to my wife because that's something I like to do. She's really successful on Instagram. She kind of started with quite a small core group of people that she knew through the Scouts, and her big things, like, she does a lot of outdoor work, a lot of outdoor adventures. She's like does these really crazy things. She's like walking different crazy routes and going up mountains and stuff. And she's almost created, like, she had the same plateau at one point where she hit like a certain number of falls, it wouldn't go up, and all of a sudden it started going up again, because that's how these social media works. It's like a ball, isn't it? Once it's rolling, it's much harder to stop it. She does amazing work, so I just wanted to shout that out. But she hit that same plateau quite early on and managed to get over it really quick just by being quite active. And I think you kind of had the same thing where you hit that plateau and you hit it. I think you hit it for a good couple of weeks, or almost a couple of months, didn't you? And then all of a sudden you started getting that momentum again. I won't mention anyone by name, but there was like one streamer that joined your one of your streams. It was like the first person that hung around. I was like, I remember when they came in, I was like, yes, this is us moving. I knew it. As soon as they came in, I was like, this is number one. This is the first. This is the first of many. Yeah, that particular person, awesome person. Yeah, I always remember, I think they popped into one of the Sonic streams that I did early on, and that was just like a random, like, completely off. I had time off work, so I was just like, oh, okay, I'll just do a stream. And I was just playing it. I was kind of like falling into that acceptance of, you know, like, maybe it is just going to be my friends who check me out, and, you know, that's fine, you know, and everything. And then that person came in,
And as sappy as it sounds, because that's the word of the day, sappy for me. Like, they came in and they gave me a follow, and I remember saying to them, like, oh, thanks for the follow and everything, and they went, oh, no problem, I really enjoyed your stream. And that might seem like really insignificant, like, like somebody saying, oh, I enjoyed your stuff, I enjoyed that. But see, back then, that honestly meant the world. Like, genuinely, like for a content creator just starting out and someone coming in being like, oh no, I really like this. And even when they get compliments about whether it's Satsunami or whether it's T-posing, people who come in and they say, oh no, I loved your episode or I loved the content. Like, I'm not saying they're coming in floods or anything. I'm like, clearly, I'm not, yeah. Hold the door. But yeah, it's just like a couple of, like nice comments that get you through the day. And honestly, it does mean a lot. Like, I've had so many, like whenever I get them through, it just means a lot. I think that's a really good thing and it's really rewarding. But another thing that comes with that on the flip side is the idea of comparing yourself to others. And this is a thing especially for Twitch, because for Twitch it is really hard. Like, as I said, when I started out, I had like a good couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, because I had like a bit of a break during the beginning because I had like a lot of technical issues. I honestly was not making any headway or anything, and I was seeing other streamers who just switched on the camera and they were getting like 10 to 15 views like right away, and it got, I don't want to say depressing, but it got quite frustrating. And this is one of the things that I would like advise new streamers, like, don't go in with that mindset of, oh, they're just successful because X reason, because I feel as if that is quite a bad mentality. Do you know what I mean?
100%. It's really easy to compare yourself to someone, especially something like Twitch. Twitch is really bad for it because everything's listed in numbers, isn't it? It's like, here's the game you're playing, here's the top 20 streamers playing right now, here's their numbers. It just tells you all. It doesn't hide it. It's not like it's not like YouTube, for example. You have to kind of dig around to look for views and stuff. It's a wee bit trickier. This is just like in your face. Like, these are exactly people live now. This is your competition right at this second. You raised a great point though, because I think one of the things that people do forget when it comes to people you see for the first time, you don't know where they've come from. And they might have their first ever stream, but they could be a celebrity. You know what I mean? Like, someone could be like a local celebrity. We met a guy through the podcast, and he put a post up on there's this Facebook group for the podcast that we go on, and he put a post and saying, I got 1,000 listens in my first week. Turns out he was like a local A-lister, like not A-list, but he was like a football player or something. And he's had this huge fan base outside of the podcast. So it was like, oh, yeah, of course you got 1,000 listens on your first. Like, we were like, oh my god, how did he? That's incredible. It turns out he's just like really famous elsewhere. So I think that's a really important thing, especially for Twitch, like I said, because it tells you everything so in your face, like especially when you're live. It's just keep yourself like minded, like where you've come from and what your progress is. There's no rush. Twitch is going to be here unless you go back in time and it ceases to exist. Everything's going to be Twitch is still going to be there. We're not getting any younger, but life expectancy is what, 100 or something ridiculous. Like, but this is us. We're doing this podcast once a week now till
till the end.
It's the year 2100. You know what I mean? It's like there's no rush. So like that would be. I just jump on the back of what you said. Don't compare yourself to others, but take your time. One other thing to kind of there's two things you've said a lot, and I really want to get on this.
No, go for it.
Sorry, there's like little things. I'm just like as I'm talking now. You mentioned it looks sometimes what you see from other people, you kind of put your own twist on what they're actually doing. So you mentioned like people think Twitch is really easy because all you do is you turn on and play a game, or you turn on, you chat to your friends over Discord or whatever. And you don't realise the work that goes into it. And that's the same for so many things. And I think you have to appreciate that people don't appreciate it when you make your content. And you know what I'm getting at? So people don't appreciate technical issues. So you have to be able to get around that. And as you make it, like, these things do go wrong and it's okay. Like, people might go like, oh, it's a shame that happens. Like, yeah, okay. It sucked, but there's always next week. There's always next time. Yeah. And just following on, we talk about people who blow up overnight. This is always like a thing. People go viral, don't they? They go. People. Yeah. This guy, he has this YouTube channel, and he suddenly has a billion views on this video, and he's now a millionaire. The truth is, most of the time, Not always. There is always that chance of winning the lottery. It's another Gary V, so take a shot. But the chances are they've probably been grinding away as well. It just might be under different names. It might be a viral video might go a video might go viral on a channel that's got 1,000 videos already, but no one talks about the other 999 because there's one. I'll just give you an example of like like Gangnam Style was like the biggest song on YouTube
Oh yeah.
like ever. The number of plays. You know that guy's got like 5 albums or something. Like this is an example, and he's been in the music career for years. It wasn't just like he woke up one day and went, "I've got this idea for a song," released it, and then it went huge. You know what I mean? So like people kind of get mixed up 'cause when you don't see someone beforehand, you think, "Oh, they just came out of nowhere." But the chances are they've been grinding away as well. Maybe not always in front of camera, but you know what I mean? Like that's kind of something I think people do forget. Sometimes if you do see someone who explodes on something overnight, well, they didn't. The chances are they were doing like tons of other things to get to that point. Yeah, there's a thing you hear quite a lot in like the motivational speaker world. To go for another niche here.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as luck. Man, this is getting philosophical. There's no such thing as luck. Luck is just like what is it? Preparation and opportunity. So you might make a video that could have gone viral, but you didn't put the work in. You know what I mean? The concept might have been great, but you didn't put the work in, or you didn't get the opportunity to upload it onto a platform that was new, for example. So that you have to have both. You have to be able to be good enough at something to make it like get explode in the first place. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer for what was effectively, but I really like that stuff interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is if you think someone's blown up overnight, the chances are they haven't. And also, yeah, don't compare yourself to other people for that same reason because you don't know what they're doing. You only see the hour, the 2 hours, the 3 hours that they're in front of you for. So yeah, just keep that in mind as well when you're starting out.
Because it is such an easy mindset to fall into, especially
100%.
especially if you're hitting your head against a brick wall with your own content, and then you see other people who are doing probably, let's face it, they're probably doing exactly the same stuff you're doing. But the only difference is, maybe, as you said, maybe it's just they've got lucky, or maybe they've brought a following somewhere else. Like, there's always going to be a reason for that, a reason for why somebody's popular on.
And also, it's worth looking. Like, if someone is, so you see someone's done something really similar to you, you go, why is that? Why is it different? Maybe you don't know, but also, like, I'll just pick an example from me from the wrestling.
Yeah.
I might see someone like, how are they so much more successful than me? But then you go, oh, hang on, actually, they're in better shape than me. They've done this. They've had this experience. When you can analyze things as well in a positive way. So instead of being like, oh, why am I not better? Go find out why are they doing well as well? You know what I mean? Maybe they've put in the hours. Maybe they've got a really interesting setup. Maybe they found a particularly interesting way of engaging with their fans. Like, there's all sorts of different ways, especially Twitch, which I think is almost unfair how open-ended Twitch is, like how modifiable it all is.
Yeah.
Like you've got so many billions of different backgrounds and ways of layout, and so much just jumping on some random person stream like, "You're doing it's pretty cool." Like,
Yeah. No, I totally get what you mean. It's so versatile, isn't it? Like, being able to jump into like one stream where it's like they're playing, I don't know, playing like Yakuza, and then the next stream they're playing, or it's like someone watching cooking videos, which is something I have seen in the past, and it is amazing in a way, the versatility there. Yeah, as I said before, it's just trying not to fall into those negative mindsets, and it's very easy to do. I feel as if, and I don't want to be harsh, so if I'm like, call me out on it, but it feels as if it's almost like a lazy attitude sometimes. Like, not, I wouldn't say overly lazy, but if somebody's saying, like, as I said, rather than taking what you suggested, saying, alright, why are they, popular, or, yeah, let's take those ideas, or let's try something different, and instead just sitting there and saying, oh, that person bad because he got more views than me. And it's like, thank you, random straw man.
Introspection is difficult.
Oh, yeah.
It always has been, and this is kind of coming back to something you said earlier, but like, how do you get over that initial hump when it's trying to get past your friends? And you do have to do a bit of introspection. Why should someone watch me? Why should someone, like, what do I produce that should hook someone? They're not easy questions to ask, and they're not easy questions to answer, unfortunately, either. Like, 'cause you don't really know why you like things, you just do, especially people. But yeah, no, it's I don't know if the word's laziness or if it's like almost fear, because it's a difficult thing to do, is to be introspective. So yeah, I don't really know exactly what the word is, but yeah, you're totally right. There's a lack of being able to look inwards and being able to positively look outwards and try and learn.
And that kind of leads perfectly, so thank you for that segue,
Oh.
into like my next point being the idea of perfection. Like whether
Oh,
it's
yes.
and oh, you were ready for
Gary
this one.
V.
Yeah.
Take a
So
shot, everyone.
yeah. So I know I've said this to you a lot and you're probably been sick of me bringing it up, but there have been so many videos where I've brought it out. I have worked hours and hours, especially for the podcast. These episodes that edit take hours and hours to go through, to cut down the audio, to cut it from like, it might be a 2 hour recording down to like an hour and a half or something. You know, like trying to get it perfect. And then the next day when I release it, it might only get like 2 plays, you know, like, or as I said before, I create like a compilation video that I'm really proud of. I thought was really funny. I release it. It gets like a handful of views maybe, in comparison to like one of my VODs that again is not edited or anything. It was just a random Sonic VOD, and that's the thing. It's like trying to get that sense of perfection, and that is something that I feel as if is very negative in terms of content creation, because it's hard trying to get over that hurdle and to convince yourself that what you're producing isn't like, obviously the whole idea of like self-improvement, that's a whole other issue in itself, but if you're making stuff that is up to, you know, like as best as you can do, and you're still saying, oh, it's not perfect, there's no real thing of perfect, is there? Especially in terms of content creation.
This is not quite content creation, but my final year of uni dissertation, like the most important document I ever wrote, had a spelling mistake on the front cover. I just want to share that.
Yeah.
But perfection, yeah, because I mulled over that document for months, writing that essay, writing that dissertation for months, researched it, did everything right. I went through the content of it every day for years, what felt like years. And then, there's a spelling mistake on the front page. I guess what I'm trying to say is nothing's ever going to be perfect. It's really difficult to be perfect. And I think you're totally right. And there's 2 parts to what you're talking about, because I think people can get like analysis paralysis. I love saying that. It's something Gary V talks about quite a lot. Take a shot. He talks about like sometimes people don't release content because they get it. They might get themselves like, oh no, this isn't quite funny. This isn't quite edited right. But you pay so much more attention to your own content than anyone else ever will.
Yeah.
Which is a horrible thing to say, but it's completely correct, unfortunately. Like, no one's ever going to read something as much as you've written, put the effort in. No one's ever going to watch a video with as much detail as you have when you edited it. There's a joke in Futurama where Fry writes a letter and then Leela reads it, and she reads it in like 30 seconds, and he goes, "Oh, it took me an hour to write. I thought it was going to take you an hour to read." But I think about that sometimes. You think of it like perfection. But then the other part is, you mentioned self-improvement. You can't improve on something that's not out there.
Yeah.
You know, you can't improve on something that's not a finished product. So I think it's pretty healthy to like cut off time, or like think something's good enough and then roll with it.
Yeah.
You know, the chances are it's very difficult to turn someone away from your content forever, I think.
Yeah.
Unless you do something horrible, which is, you know, different story. If you put out this episode of the podcast and my audio cuts out, people will go, that's a shame. But they might listen next week. They might not, but it's not going to kill your channel. You know what I mean? It's like, if that's good enough, then that's good enough. And then next week you'll go, okay, Craig's audio cut out because he's done this, so next time I'll double check and make sure his audio's going to stay in the whole time. Something like that. You know what I mean? Like, the point I'm trying to make is perfectionism is such a killer because you want things to be perfect, because everyone does, because it's you're putting out there in the world. But it can't be. And you need to get out there and try things. It's the same with like when we started doing the podcast. We didn't have great microphones when we started. We upgraded them. We didn't have, I don't think we were as good at choosing topics and writing them, and I think we got better with that over time. And I think like same with yours podcast as well. You've had the exact same thing between your podcast and streaming. You've got more comfortable with the things. You've got new equipment. It all adds up, and you've managed to, like, if someone tunes in and sees an unperfect version, then that's fine. They still saw you. You know, they might tune out, they might not. But as you get better, nothing's ever going to be perfect. So just get the content out there in a good enough form. You know, and
I totally agree with that. Just going back to what you were saying about the analysis paralysis, my God, that is a fun thing to say.
would you?
Yeah, it is. Like, I've had moments like that where I've thought, should I post this? Should I not? And 9 times out of 10, maybe I'll be like, oh, it's not worth it. Like, I can go into what you were saying about that Futurama reference. I've had moments like that where it's taken me hours to like edit a video down, and then when I show someone and it's like a 15-minute video and they'll watch it and go, haha, that was funny. And I'm like, I mean, thank you, but anything else? It's just like, no, it was good. And it's like, what do you mean it was good? What? Give me feedback. It's like, Satsu, you're hurting me. Please let go.
Let me go.
But yeah, it is just, I think it is. It's trying to overcome that hurdle. Because, see, initially, there were a lot of times where I said to myself, oh, maybe I'm not good enough for this, or oh, maybe I'm not. Like, have you ever, and again, like maybe a bit personal, but have you ever had moments like that where you've doubted yourself when it came to content creation?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, you know, I mentioned the wrestling side. I'll
yeah.
jump back to that. Part of being a wrestler is like essentially having to be really comfortable in your own body, in terms of like people see me like wrestling. My kit has a vest on it, but you know, sometimes I'll be topless. Having to like post stuff like that on social media is quite difficult. This is what I talk about, being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's okay. I'm trying to. There's a line here between like seeking perfection, but also like being honest with yourself. So like,
yeah.
Just as an example, I've got scars across my stomach from when I gained all the weight. And I don't like. I'm obviously not going to put like. I don't want to post them a lot, you know, because I'm uncomfortable with that. But at the same time, I try not to stress it if they make their way into a photo. So if I've got a really good photo and it's like, oh, I can see that in that edge, do not just post. It's like, you just have to like. There's like a certain amount of being honest with yourself. Of like, is anyone going to notice? Probably not. Or am I overthinking this? Probably. Or you know, it's kind of all tied in. I think that kind of perfection versus like being honest with yourself and all that kind of stuff. I think it's all tied together.
I mean,
I don't know if that answered your question, but I kind of went off on a tangent.
No,
Sorry.
that's fine. I mean, it's
live, folks. That's what happens.
I mean, it is a fine line, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, you want to do the best you can, but at the same time, you don't want to... Because this is the thing, sometimes, like, I've been quite obsessive when I'm editing, like, either videos or especially the podcast, because there's some moments where I think, oh, I made this weird noise, let me cut this out, or, oh, I've done that. You know, like, I get very kind of worked up. Well, not worked up, that's definitely the wrong word, but, you know, I get worried, you know, that how I'm presenting, what I'm saying is gonna maybe turn people off of like something, or you know, I'll look at old episodes or old videos and I think, oh, are they going to be turned off by that? But honestly, like, going back to what I was saying, like, I have had lots of thoughts about that, thinking, am I good enough to stream? And again, this isn't like me asking everyone to break out the violins and be like, your tiniest violin, please. But it's that idea or that worry that you think, am I good enough to be in this medium? The thing that gets me through that, though, is seeing a lot of, like, and this is going to sound bad, but you know how you get all those shit posts, or, you know, you get, like, low-effort content, and you get people that have, like, thousands or millions of views, or you get people, like, robbing other content, or, you know, things like that. Or the weirdest one I've seen, and I honestly still don't get this, but it's like people on Facebook that stream, but they never stream anything. Like, they always stream something really bizarre. Usually it's like modded GTA. But there was one,
always modded GTA is what I always see on Facebook.
I don't know why though. It's like, I saw one of a guy walking above the city as a cow. I saw another one of him as, like, I don't know if it was Superman or Peppa Pig or something, like punching someone. You know, it was all this like bizarre stuff, but somehow that's popular. And that's the thing though, like, I could sit here saying, oh, that's weird, why is that popular? But at the same time, that has found its niche. And somehow it's found its niche in the internet. And there is a place, I suppose, for all kinds of, like, content creation on Twitch. And that's the kind of thing that, although I have to admit at the very beginning it's hard to kind of come to terms with, to be like, I can do this, because it's easy enough to try something. I'm very terrible at this, by the way, to say like, oh, I'm going to take up a new hobby, and then immediately I'm not good at it. There's like a perfect image I think I sent to you, where it's a guy who decides to take up knitting, and he's like, I love knitting, and he's got like the t-shirt that says it, and then it's like he finds out that he's terrible at it, and his t-shirt in the next panel just says like F knitting, and he's like, I hate knitting. Because I've done that before with like a lot of things. I've tried it, I've not been very good at it, I've kind of moved on. I feel as if this is probably the longest I've kind of stuck. like with content creation, like consistently. Like as I said before, I have done content creation, but it's kind of been like maybe a couple of months at a time, like a flash in the pan, and that's it, it's gone. But with this, it's been like a year and nearly 5 months, I think.
That's amazing. You think of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
One of the things I've got a
no,
question for
no,
you
go
then.
on.
What do you kind of do to keep that ball rolling? So obviously, like, has it just become routine to you now, or do you plan ahead? Like, kind of how do you? So you've got, not to spoil what your schedule looks like, but obviously you're gonna have episodes of Satsunami coming up next week. You're gonna have streams coming up next week. You're gonna have T-posing coming up. Like, are you planning ahead, or are you just like, heck, I know I've got time this time of day, and I'm gonna record. I don't care what I record, but just do something. Like, I'm curious how do you keep that momentum up?
See, this is a weird thing because initially when I started streaming, I had a set schedule, like it would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday at about like 7 or 8 p.m. But because I've taken on these new like projects, like with Chatsunami, which I have to admit I've been absolutely loving doing these. T-posing as well. T-posing has taken a lot of effort to like produce. And again, it's like there's nothing wrong with like the recording bit. I think this is like the main thing about, like, I don't know how you feel about this, but like, that way where it's like it's easy to take like the picture or like record something, but it's the editing that gets you down.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
that's why I let Jan do it for the podcast.
oh, no wonder. No.
I have the easiest job in the world. He does
Yeah.
all the hard work, and I take 50% of the credit.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, no wonder. Because, I mean, the way my schedule usually looks is I haven't been streaming as much, like, gaming content, which, again, like, I really need to get back into because I love doing it, but it has been, like, a hot while since I've started, like, getting back into it. The only thing that's really consistent are these Chatsunami episodes, live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. BST. And the editing for, like, T-posing is, I mean, it's 3 episodes a week, one of which technically I have started replacing with, like, I've started kind of a sub-series in it called T-posing Archive, and basically it's just like old streams that I did with friends, and I kind of like cut it up and like repurpose it that way. Again, it's like a lot of fun to like look back in those streams and think, oh, that was amazing when we did this, it was amazing when we did that. But I will admit, it takes a lot of effort. Sometimes it's alright. Sometimes it's alright to be like, right, okay, less edits or more edits here, or it's a bit of a learning curve to see what works or what doesn't. But like, it probably takes a couple of hours an episode to do like the T-posing ones. It doesn't take that long, but what does take long is the Chatsunami ones take ages, because it's like going through the audio, and again, there's not really anything, like, obviously the topic itself is interesting, but having to like sift through the audio waves and things and be like, is that a pause? Oh, that's a pause. Okay, take that out. Or is that a bit where I make a weird noise for no reason? Okay, let's take that. It's like having to kind of crawl through that, and that takes a lot of time. Again, it's that idea of like, I don't want to say pressure, but that way you want to keep a deadline, because this is what that's what people always say. They're like, oh, you have to keep your content consistent, you have to keep a schedule, and you do. Like, that does help if you want to grow, but it can be hard sometimes, because let's face it, life is like, again, I don't want to get too philosophical, but it's like life can throw things at you, where it's like you're not always going to be able to stream, or you're not going to get that video out on time, and that's okay. Like, just because you miss a day or you have to push it back, like, that is the worry, that you can get maybe too into it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of forget, like all I would say is, for anyone listening, like, try and set time aside. You're throwing yourself into editing. Like, try and set time aside to like play games with your friends or go out and things, because obviously, unless it's your job, that's a whole different thing. Yeah, ruining the moral of my story there. But it's trying to get that balance as well, because you can get like obsessed with the numbers, you can get obsessed with what are they doing that I'm not doing, you can then get obsessed with being perfect and things, and it just like loops back to what you were saying, Craig, just that you have to kind of recognise those things, approach it in a more questioning way, like not come at it and be like, oh well, I've done that Simpsons reference was like, well, we've done all we can do. It's like that. It's like, take it slow. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think as well, like ultimately have fun.
Mhm.
I think like it's
Oh,
not something
absolutely.
that I don't think we either of us said this somehow.
Yeah.
But like if you're enjoying something, it's so much easier to do.
Hmm.
Gary V, take a shot.
Hey.
Spoke about why are you doing it and kind
Mhm.
of are you enjoying it? And if you're not, you probably won't be able to keep a consistent schedule. You're not even consistent. You just won't be able to do it. Like it's like you said, some of these things take work, and sometimes you
Hmm.
don't get anything out of it, and that's okay.
Hmm.
Because if you enjoyed the process or you enjoyed people's reactions or you enjoyed whatever, I think
Hmm.
that's the important part to always keep in mind as well. Like, why are you doing this? And
Hmm.
sometimes if you're not enjoying it, then that's okay. Take a break.
Hmm.
It's always going to be there. Don't stress it. Just like I was saying at the start of the episode, I've not been posting as much. We're to currently take on a break for being chill. Starting back soon, hopefully. Ooh. So no details yet, so I can't
Yeah.
talk too much about that. And on my Bowen account, I've not had as much content to put out, so I've just kind of stepped back, and that's also okay.
Hmm.
You know, to keep things taken over with easy stuff when I get a chance, but you know, it's okay. Like have fun. I wasn't having fun because I hadn't come up with new stuff, so take a break, and that's fine. Like
Hmm.
I think it's always important to have fun and think about why you're doing it.
Hmm.
One thing that Gary Vee also mentioned, take another shot because I said it twice. He said that what was really cool to him is thinking about what you create as a whole timeline.
Yeah.
Imagine what it would have been like to see your dad or your mum or your grandparents. Imagine getting the chance to see something that they created across a year, across 2 years, what they thought was important, what they felt mattered in a sense
Hmm.
of like, we don't have that historical document for any sort of other generation, and there
Hmm.
are generations creating things that can exist forever. Which is also quite scary, but
Yeah.
in terms of like, I'm sorry, I'll freak you out. I'm just never streaming again. Um, but in terms of like documenting like
Mhm.
what's cool, and that's something that really interests me as well. Like when it's all said and done for me at the wrestling, I can look back and I can go, hell yeah, yeah, I
Mhm.
put a lot of effort in. These things all mattered, and I thought these things were cool enough to share at the time.
Mhm.
Maybe they look stupid now, but it was important once upon a time.
Mhm.
And yeah, so just so that was a bit of a tangent. But what I was trying to say was,
Mhm.
enjoy yourself, and if the fun stops, stop.
Mhm.
As they say in the UK.
They do, but
They
in
do
a
in a
more
totally different
serious, yeah.
context. Yeah.
I was just gonna say. See, this is one of the things, though, I have to admit. I was actually looking back on. Remember, I was talking about the T-posing archive series
Yep.
there, and the one that I have been like releasing recently is for. I think it was the last stream that I did before 2020 ended, and it was basically myself, good friend Adam S. Banks, and Green Shield. We all played Halo 4 together. And although we didn't have as many views, like, you know that way when it's like when people come in and they expect, like, 20 or 30 views, it was like more of an intimate crowd, like, watching us. But going back and just listening to how happy we were, it's just amazing. As you said, it's amazing going back and hearing how happy we were playing those games. And even when I listen back to, because I think, I'm just trying to think, I can't remember if it was you and I. Remember when you and I played Fall Guys together when
Oh
I
yes, that was
started
good.
streaming? Oh, good times. But I made a compilation video for that, and it is amazing going back and just listening to all the best bits of it, and listening to like the time we just lost it laughing, or we started celebrating, and even the fact now that we have stuff to talk about with it. And it's like we can talk about it and then, as good university students as we were, go back and source it and be like,
Mhm.
Satsunami 42 on YouTube. Fall Guys compilation. It is amazing. It is almost like a digital, like, I don't want to say photo book because clearly it's not, but you know what I mean. It's like,
Yeah, it's
as you
like an
said,
archive of
yeah,
document.
yeah, being able to go back and just see those great times, and I'm not gonna lie, like, see going back and watching them. Yeah, there have been a lot of moments where I've just lost my, what, just listening to them. But that's the thing though. That's what makes content creation so great. It's those like small moments where either you're interacting with your friends, you're interacting with the chat. It's amazing. It's an amazing experience. And don't get me wrong, like, here's one thing I want to quickly point out, if that's okay. I mean, have you seen those, like, people who give the, like, tips and tricks and things on, like,
In
YouTube and
general or
things?
social
Yeah, just in
media?
general, yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
on
Yeah,
social
yeah, yeah.
media saying, like, oh, here's how you boost your followers for this and
Oh,
that.
okay, yeah.
The one thing I would, like, advise, like, anybody listening who wants to get into content creation, I wouldn't say, like, take their advice with a pinch of salt, because usually they know what they're talking about. You'll get obviously some people who just don't, but not every single, not action, but you know what I mean, not every single plan is going to fit, like, every streamer, every YouTuber, every, you know, there is, like, a basic plan there, you know, as you were saying about the pyramid of content and things, there is, like, validity to that, but you might get someone who's like, oh, you have to get out there and do crazy things and this and that might not fit into someone who is a bit more reserved. Like, take me for example, like, somebody saying, oh, you should get out there and, you know, wear a red panda suit on stream, and it's like, well, it's kind of wasted because I don't use a camera. It would just be me sitting behind the mic awkwardly being like, I swear to God, guys, I do have the suit. But you know what I mean, like, not...
Oh, 100%.
Like, not every plan or, you know, suggestion is gonna fit everyone. It's more like a jigsaw than it is like a rule of thumb. You know, because you'll get people coming back angry saying, I did this, I did that. And it's more probably, like, personally for me, I would say it just doesn't fit their style rather than, you know, just flat out saying, oh, it doesn't work. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I totally agree. And one thing I think's interesting, 'cause we've had conversations in the past where we chatted once upon a time about YouTube titles, like the title of a video on YouTube for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we both went, why are we talking about this? Because it was like, oh, I've received advice that it should be this. And I was like, well, I will see this. And it's like, who cares? No, not only, you're totally right in the sense of like, totally right in the sense of not everything, not all advice fits, but also the opposite. Not all advice, there's no such thing as entirely correct advice on social media. You could do all the wrong things and still win, so to speak, quote unquote win, but you could still get what your goal is, regardless of what you do. You might do everything wrong, and it still works out because it's what you are comfortable with, it's what you, and it's, you know, I was talking about earlier about being honest with yourself and kind of, you know, being genuine. Like, you know, we've been friends for a long time. I know you wouldn't like want to sit in front of the camera and do the stream as some kind of out there crazy character, and you wouldn't be able to maintain that, and people would know. And I think like there's so many people out there. Like one of the streamers I really like, a guy called Picasbury, does a lot of Pokemon stuff. He's never shown his face on his streams. His streams are very just a background and the video of the game. And he has a full-time career streaming, and as far as I can tell, he does everything wrong in terms of like always the advice that's get given out. You know, he doesn't appear on stream, he titles his videos in a weird way on YouTube, you know, his thumbnails are kind of okay, you know, and I came across him by a complete accident, but the guy, he makes enough money to not have to work a boring day job, doesn't have to work the 9 to 5, and so like, yeah, you're totally right. Not only, I just want to add to that, so not only does the plan not always work for you, the plan doesn't always work. You can get so far doing everything wrong as long as it's you, I think.
Can I just point something out very quickly? So, this is going to sound so bizarre, but today I was on YouTube and I got recommended this video from someone who is, I don't know, it must be because I was watching language videos on one of my YouTube things, and it started recommending me like videos from this particular channel. And one of the videos, I kid you not, I'm looking at it now, was a video just titled W. And basically, I watched part of it, and it was actually very interesting, but I watched part of it, and there was literally this guy talking about the history of the letter W. And this is the thing, like, there's no flashy title, there's no, like, saying, you'll never believe what W came from, you know, or what W did, you know, it's like, it's just called W. So I looked it up there quickly, just as you were talking. It was posted 2 years ago, and it has 1.1 million views. And let me tell you, I've looked at the guy's channel. He has 146,000 subscribers. Now, that's not... I mean, don't get me wrong, that's fantastic. Like, good for him. But, like, it's not something you would associate with, like, a channel that... Like, usually you would expect people to have more followers to have like, you know, the proportion of views to followers. And this is one more thing, but I think it is very important to point out that followers will not equal success.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like numbers, I mean, like don't get me wrong, I love all this is the official Satsunami stance. I love all my followers. But yeah, like
Especially you listening right now.
especially person who hears this. That's me. But I do feel as if it's very important, like, it is important, like, to engage with your community and things, but at the same time, just because, like, somebody has, you know, let's say someone has 500 followers and someone else has, like, 1,000. The person who has 1,000 isn't automatically guaranteed to have, like, 1,000 people tuning into their streams every night. I mean, they might not even have, you know, like 10 people, whereas the other person who has 500 follows might have like 50 views a day. And I feel as if like a lot of people kind of conflict that in a way. Like people will say, oh, you need the followers to get the views. And don't get me wrong, like the followers are kind of important, or not important, but it's good, like if you want to make like progress and grow on the platform. But at the same time, it's like you've got to take a step back and think numbers aren't everything. And like, you know, put down the Switch, the Switch calculator up.
Sponsor of the show.
Exactly.
No, you're totally right, and like because there's like all these stats and stuff. But one thing that's like really interesting to me is like the percentage of people that follow you versus the percentage of people that interact with you.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just to compare the two examples that I've got. So Beer and Chill, because it's coming from a more of a business point of view. You know, follow for follow on podcast, something like that. I'll put up a post, and we'll get likes equal to 5%.
Yeah.
Sometimes less, between 2 and 5% of our total number of followers. While Mark McAllister, the wrestler, I've built that community from the people I know and people I've met and people that have seen me perform, and they're much more interested in me. So then I often hit 20% of my followers and likes, and it's the same with like you say on Twitch. It's the exact same thing. It's if you can get followers who actually are engaged, they'll keep coming back. Just as an example off the top of my head, like you know, you get people that do like super specific things, like they may be speedrunners or they might be I don't know, Formula One enthusiasts. I don't know, I'm just trying to think of something random. Or they only watch Gordon Ramsay's cooking shows over and over again.
I was going to say, there is that one streamer, so I'll give him a quick shout out, but I think he's called Mayor Quimby on Twitch.
Yes.
And I remember he popped into one of my streams when I was playing Simpsons Hit and Run, and what I realised was he actually exclusively does speedruns of Simpsons Hit and Run. Like, that's all he plays. Like, every so often he'll pop up and I'll be like, my god, he's still streaming it. And good for him, like, genuinely. But yeah, sorry.
His follow account to his watch count will probably be really, really good because people know what they're getting.
Yeah.
So they're just like, yes, I want more of this guy shaving off a second to his PB.
Yeah.
Simpsons Hit and Run once a week because I follow him as well. Yeah. And I do check him out sometimes. I also like check out his clips because he puts up clips. He's like, beat my PB by like 0.2 of a second. Incredible work. Top man. And but yeah, something like that where it's quite. He's built up a good community. It's quite niche, and you can convert that very easily. I think it's an important thing. You're totally right. So yeah, if you're focusing on one number, which is just the number of people that can see your thing, that's cool. But why should they come see it? Is the question to then that gets that number, whether that's the live numbers, whether that's your merchandise, whether that's your subscribers, whether that's your people that comment on your blog versus the people that read it. Applies to everything. But yeah, that's kind of the big thing. I think is like try create an engagement rather than just create like for likes.
Totally agree, because that's the thing, and kind of a final point before we like wind down, but it is the idea of like at the very beginning when I started streaming, I put out like a lot of posts trying to be like, oh, I'm going live, oh hi, I'm Satsu, blah blah blah, and I was not getting any engagement because, like, let's face it, going back to what you were saying, like, why would someone like randomly click, like maybe they would out of morbid curiosity, but like back then, why would someone click on an unknown streamer's like, you know, channel and be like, oh right, okay, I guess they're playing a very weird Pokemon game, like, or why they, no one's going to really interact with that. So what I started doing was I started going into people's streams and not self-promoting. So again, I'm going to reiterate, I didn't know it, and that's not something you should do. But I did start like talking to them and, chatting away and everything. And as I said before, I've made amazing friends through that. And I mean, there's so many of them. I was going to list them, but I am genuinely worried that
you missed someone out.
Yeah, and I don't want to be like, oh, this person, that person, because genuinely, like, you'll either see them on the Discord, you'll see me like shouting them out and Twitter and things. You guys know who you are if you're listening, but they are all amazing people, and that has been one of the best things to come out of just this saga. Like,
wow.
Like, let's face it, like, I went into not knowing what to expect, thinking, oh, this is just going to be, a couple of months thing, then I'm going to go back and, binge Netflix, which I still do. But this time, I've got like people that now I can talk to, I can share ideas with, I can, get them on the podcast or vice versa if they ask me onto the stream, It's things like that, and it's just amazing to get to know them. And again, that's looping back to what we were saying earlier, but yeah, it's just a wonderful world, isn't it?
It's amazing to think of like the scope of it all, like people you would never have met
Yeah.
in a million years, you never would have been in the same place as some of these people, like physically. But to be able to reach them this way is such an amazing thing, I think.
Oh, I think about that a lot. Like, genuinely, like, thinking, if I didn't log into Twitch that day and I didn't bump into, so-and-so. Because that's the thing, like, some people who either return to my streams or, like, you've interacted with, and you think, if I hadn't, like, going back to what you were saying about that, the Sonic stream, where that one guy popped up to me and said, like, no problem, I enjoyed your stream, and I was, like, really taken aback, in a good way. But the fact that was just a random stream, that wasn't planned or anything, that wasn't like, oh, I'm going to plan it, that was just pure chance. And that guy has been with the channel for, like, probably a year now, give or take. And it's crazy, but that's the thing, it's all chance. Going back to, and it's my turn to mention Gary Vee.
Hey, take a shot.
Was it him that was talking about viral content that, like, a lot of I can't remember if it's him or someone else, but I'm sure it was him that said, like, a lot of companies try to get, or not companies, but content creators as well, try to get that idea of, oh, they want viral content,
Yeah.
They want to artificially manufacture viral content, and that's kind of like contradicting the idea of what viral content is. Because viral content isn't something that you put out there and all of a sudden, like, millions of people are going to latch onto it and make it the next meme or whatever. Yes, I know it's meme. For legal reasons. Yes.
It's donk meme.
Yes, for legal reasons, I used to work with someone who said meme or mimi. No, sorry, they said mimi, and it was like, how could you, how could you mess it up so bad? But anyway, so we're not here to talk about it. But it's like, if something's going to go viral, it's going to go viral. I mean, look at, I don't know if you've seen Grady Undery. Have you heard of him before?
No, I don't think so.
Like,
if it's something that's gone viral, I've probably seen it and not knowing what it's called. So.
I can't comment on the person himself because I think he got into a bit of, like, just being a bit argumentative and things like that. The usual YouTube drama. Like, nothing substantial. But anyway, he used to draw, like, really bad, like, stick figures with, like, it was like a face with a big chin, and his gimmick was he would record his audio on, like, a really bad phone, and he would just record it and overlap it on top of these stick figures complaining about, just like mundane stuff, like about job interviews, about sports, about certain numbers, like just really silly stuff. But apparently he posted it on Reddit and someone shared, like, one of his videos, and then he got blasted into fame. And that's the thing, that's the point I'm getting at. Like, whether you like him or not, the point is, that's the power of the internet. The fact that a guy goes from a relatively small channel to one of the most well-known names on the platform for a while. And I think he stopped, like, creating content. Like, he's one of these YouTubers that went away for a while, then came back and said, oh, I'm going to create content again, and then he never did. You know, like oh god, I can't even think of a show that ended on like a bad cliffhanger, but you know what I mean.
like Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged.
Why would you bring that up?
Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh,
Abridged.
Dragon Ball, right?
Dragon Ball Z
Oh,
Abridged. There you go.
yeah.
I do love everything that guy's trying to just to jump back to
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. That guy's got good content. He puts out some really good stuff. So I just want to give a shout out to him. Also, he's a fellow wrestling fan, so you know, always points for being a fellow wrestling fan.
What, Little Karibo? Or,
Yeah.
oh, that's awesome, actually. Good for him.
Good
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah, he does great content outside. So yeah, kind of just to wrap up, is there any tips? I wouldn't say last minute tips, but you know what I mean? Like, are there any, like, tips that you would leave for people who either are wanting to get into content creation or are already, you know, just started out? Like, what advice would you give them?
Two things we've kind of mentioned, but enjoy yourself, have fun. That's what you're here for. Don't do it if you're not enjoying it. And then the other thing about, like, take a look at what other people are doing, but take that seriously. If you're being serious about it, take it seriously. No one is finding it easy. People look like it's easy because they make it look like it's easy. You know, like we know these things are difficult. Just for an example off the top of my head, you know, something like an Instagram or a Twitter. It's like, hey man, these people's tweets get so many millions of likes. Well, have a quick look at what hashtags they use. Are those hashtags useful? Are they not? Are they something you can use? And it's not copy, and that's what they're there for. They're there to be used. Pictures, you know, what kind of style of pictures get more interaction, what don't. You know, take time to reflect on what other people do. Also, what your own success is. But yeah, that's important. It's important to analyze. If you want to take it seriously, take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like, it's a difficult thing to half-ass, and I think I'll be the first to admit this. Like, part of the reason I'm not sitting on your side of the screen doing the streaming was because I couldn't get beyond half-assing Twitch and stuff like that. I just couldn't ever get that commitment to it. And these you can tell with these things. And I'd never make it big on Twitch because I just couldn't get past the half-assing stage. But yeah, and part of that was because also I wasn't enjoying it in the same way. So yeah, just try and enjoy yourself, but you know, keep in mind that if you are trying to do this professional, then you need to be a professional. Does that make sense? That sounded quite mean. You know what I mean?
A bunch of amateurs.
Yeah, a bunch of amateurs. Don't be an amateur.
No,
dress for the job you want. Is that the quote?
Yeah, is that the one where it's all the boomer like images of people dressing up as Batman?
Yeah.
I know the one you mean.
Dress for the job you want.
Is that why you dressed up as a wrestler for tonight's stream?
Pretty much. I'm sitting here in my kit right now.
Ah, of course. Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Kind of like adding on to that, like just a little bit. Yeah. Like you said before, and I know we kind of laughed about it, but you said like when the fun stops, stop. That is the other worry. Like I would say definitely if you're wanting to get into like content creation, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Twitch, whatever it is, diversify your content, because that's the thing I've started doing, and I have to admit I've seen like a rapid kind of slowdown of my growth on Twitch because I've not really been focusing as much on it, if you know what I mean. I've been like focusing on doing like the T-posing let's plays on YouTube. I've been doing like the podcast as well, and that's the thing though, like as you said, like if it's fun, have fun with it. And while like Satsunami might not get the same numbers as like Satsunami plays like Wonderwall with a goose, which, okay, I'm going to be honest, that video does not have as many likes as I would like it to. Yeah, for reference, I played Untitled Goose Game and I played Wonderwall on the bell.
I know.
Oh yeah, you know, you were there. Don't speak over it. I was there when they were written. Yes.
I would never miss a good honk.
Yes. The honking is indeed the best part of the month. Anyway, I had no idea what was going on.
This is what I was talking about not being a perfectionist, because you never would have made that joke if you were a perfectionist.
See, that's the thing as well. It's like, as you said, like, have fun with the content, and just don't stress too much about like other people. Like, again, don't compare yourself. Like, if you need to take a step back, please take a step back. Like, don't spiral, if you know what I mean. Like, going back to what I was saying before, like, there have been times where, and this is a Satsu open hours here, but you know, it's like you have to take a step back sometimes. And I have had times where I thought, oh, maybe I'm not great, I'm not suited for streaming, or oh, this video is rubbish, or you know, all the stereotypical negative thoughts you would associate with this. But you just have to take a step back. If you need to take a break, take a break. Don't feel ashamed to take a break, because I think that's what people think. Like, obviously the basic advice is like, oh, keep to a schedule and everything, which is a good idea, but don't push yourself over, like, what you can handle, if that makes sense. Don't think, like, because I have seen that, like, a lot of people do stream, like, 7 times a week, maybe, sometimes more than once a day, and it's like, I could not do that. I mean, I could technically, but you know what I mean? It's like, that would mean that I would have to, like, then sacrifice other things. And I'm not even talking about editing or content creation. Like, socially, I would have to, like, be like, oh no, I can't go out because, you know, I'm streaming, like, part 80 of Bloodborne or something. I'm still on the first level. You know, it's like things like that. You have to find the right balance if you're just starting out. If things are going well on one platform, then definitely, like, diversify on what platforms you use to advertise. Like Insta, as we've both said, you know, great platform once you get into it. Same with TikTok, same with, I don't know about YouTube and Facebook.
It depends on your content as well.
Yeah,
though. Like, if you're doing like
Mm-hmm.
blogs and stuff, Facebook was nothing better than for Facebook than that kind of content. You know what I mean? So there's everything, like, this is what we were talking about earlier. You know, every bit of advice is triple edged. So yeah, take anything with a pinch of salt.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Learn to use everything that you can. LinkedIn, put your Twitch on LinkedIn. I don't know if you can do that.
You can, but I don't know, genuinely. Well, people keep saying that, oh, you can advertise your Twitch on LinkedIn and things, and I'm like, why? Not why, okay, that's bad, but you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't get why.
Yeah, why is that your first choice?
Yeah, why LinkedIn? Because I think Gary Vee, again, take the shot. I don't know why he's recommended LinkedIn, and obviously he's not thinking of Twitch, but, you know, he's probably thinking of, like, YouTube or content creation in that sense, but I don't know, maybe it's just like a niche. Maybe there is some validity there. And again, I can't say because I don't use LinkedIn. So if you ever see a red panda there, either on LinkedIn or Tinder, apparently. Yeah, no, I'm not on that.
Wait, we didn't speak about the content creation side of Tinder.
So step 1, download a photo from Google.
That ultra Chad guy.
Yeah, the one with the big chin and it's black and white. Yeah, just download a photo of that, you'll be fine. Step 2, draw the owl.
Step 1, draw the circle. Step 2, draw the owl. Let's not go into Tinder.
Jokes aside,
that's the next week's Satsunami. I'll be back on for that one to give you advice on that.
Yeah, I thought you were coming back next week to do Turkish Star Wars.
Oh, pass. That's actually my time to go. Would you believe?
Of course.
That's a shame. And I'll never be back on. That's a shame.
That's a shame. Well, before you run off, would you like to tell these lovely people where you can actually be found? So we can hunt you down and, you know, spam you with watch Turkish Star Wars.
No, I have watched Turkish Star Wars. I'm just never watching it again.
Oh, I know. I was there. So yeah, where...
Yeah. Do you know the worst thing about Turkish Star Wars? I made you guys watch that, and I thought it was going to be good.
See, in all honesty, I was the same. It's one of these cult films people say, oh, it's so bad, it's good, and then you watch it and you think, what the hell is this?
So bad.
Yeah, it was just bad. I think it was just boring more than anything. And that is definitely, like, a topic you have to come back on for, to talk about, like, what makes a bad film good.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll be up for that.
Because we have been, like, talking about that idea for a while, but that would definitely be a fantastic episode. But on that note, why have the recent episodes been ended on Turkish Star Wars? Damn this film.
I think it's just it's ingrained into the brain.
Yeah, it's like once you see it, it's like a movie equivalent of a car crash. Once you've seen it, it never leaves your head. It's horrible. Yeah, I cannot understate or overstate how much I hated it, but not as much as you, I will admit.
Yeah, it changed my life for the worse.
Yeah. Yeah, how many hours were you like lying?
Let's wrap up. Let's go to the bit where I get to plug my stuff and get out of here before we. I'm not willing to talk about this anymore.
And on that note, yeah, where can these amazing listeners find your content?
I actually haven't done this in a while when we've been
I know,
so,
yeah. Let's go.
if you enjoyed hearing my voice on here, you can hear more of it on the Beer and Chill podcast. We're across all sorts of social media. That's your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your Twitter. You can find us at Beer and Chill Pod and all of those. And you can download the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, any podcast apps, all the good ones, at least. And we are currently on a break, but you can go back and listen to all the episodes from season 1. I think there's about 30-something episodes of some incredible stuff. Your boy Chatsu, yeah, he makes a debut as well, appearances.
And what an appearance it was.
Several, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got stuff in the works to hopefully be coming back in the future as well. Not too long, we're working behind the scenes, trying to make plans, make ideas, basically make things as comfortable as possible when we come back, so we can give for the best services, so to speak. And if you want to see more about me in the world of professional wrestling, you can follow me at Martin McAllister, which is a funny spelling. So it's Martin, as you probably expect, and then MacAlistair. Mostly gym pictures at the moment, if I'm being totally honest. Thankfully, summer's out the way, so I'll have my top on more. So that's but you know, it's all like that. Some people yayed, some people booed. Who knows?
Did you hear that out there? I'm just
boo.
just my one neighbour. Boo. What the hell is that?
And yeah, that's kind of where you can find me. As I said, I'm hoping to kind of expand to different social medias for the Martin McAllister stuff, but that's kind of what I'm also on Twitter, actually, as M McAllister. But so far, I've made 2 tweets and retweeted John Cena a bunch, so that's kind of not really happening for me.
Nice.
I don't have as much to say, because like I said, I love pictures. Yeah, I think that's everything for me. Take a shot, go follow Gary V. I don't even need to plug him, he's like a millionaire. Plug yourself. And that's everything for me.
Yeah, that would be terrifying if you just Beetlejuiced them into this call.
Well, Beetlejuice was like 3 times. Like, this has been like, I'd like someone to go back and do account. If someone's bored, please do account of this. Rewind the episode, start again, and just like, chat. So if you could do a compilation video of just every time.
I was just thinking that.
Ding, just like a wee thing every time.
It's just like, yeah. Oh god, I'm thinking of like, it's just like, hello everybody and welcome to Gary V. It's in the works, guys, don't worry.
That's so good.
It's on my
yeah, that's all from me. So I have plugged all my stuff, I think. So I'll throw it back to you, mate, to see us out.
Okay, don't. If you want to check out more of my content, you can check me on Twitter as well, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and of course Twitch, under the name Satsunami42. If you want to see more of the podcast itself, you can check us out on Anchor, Spotify, YouTube as well, and of course all good podcast distributors. Love saying that. If you want to check out our Let's Play series, T-Posing, there is a new episode released every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday over on Satsunami42. And yeah, that is all from me, I have to say. So once again, Craig, thank you so much for returning to Chatsunami. Glad the Pokemania episode didn't scare you off.
Always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to coming back on to see whatever disgusting thing we talk about next.
He said with trepidation. Honestly, if we do get to like a certain milestone, then maybe I'll consider it. I'll consult the council, and by that I mean myself and Adam, as to whether or not
if we do Turkish Star Wars, I won't be joking about taking shots every time I mention Gary V. Take a shot for that, please.
It's like, so Craig, tell us about the plot. Another thing about Gary V. Oh, and speaking of staying hydrated. So yeah, guys.
What a segue.
Oh, what a segue. Love it. So yeah, stay safe, stay awesome, and yeah, most importantly, stay hydrated. Bye, guys.
Bye.